Your brain doesn't care what thoughts you use. To be honest, your brain doesn't actually even know what you're saying. And I can prove that because if you were to translate your thoughts into a different language, like let's say you're gonna speak Russian to your brain, it'd be like, what the fuck is that? You would experience no emotional overwhelm or reaction to your thoughts in Spanish, Korean, whatever, unless you speak those languages. So what this means is that you have created associations through many times of thinking these thoughts that your brain has now memorized as like, oh, whenever like Sam thinks that, she feels this. Great. We're just going to do that automatically every time because the brain is super efficient, right? You don't wake up in the morning and your brain go, hey, what do you want to think today? It just thinks what it's been thinking for a really long time, whether or not those are creating positive or negative results in your life. And so if your thoughts don't mean anything, right, that means that you can focus on whatever the F you want that's going to put you into a higher vibration. So I don't try to think positive thoughts because a lot of, and I mean, I do, but if I try to think positive thoughts when I'm being negative, those positive thoughts actually create more resistance because then I start feeling shame about my negative thoughts. So instead, I'll just think really neutral thoughts, or I'll use a lot of affirmations like, what if I already had everything I wanted? What if I already had the ideal house, body, car, whatever? You know, it doesn't really matter that this isn't like your goal thought. It just matters that it produces a better feeling because your brain doesn't understand these words anyways. Your brain can only understand these words or their meanings based on the associations you've made over time. So once again, you haven't made those associations for those words in different languages. You've only made those associations for the words you speak in your native tongue. And so trying to change them is going to be really difficult because you have been strengthening this mental pattern for a really long time. Like even if you tell your brain, that's not what that means anymore, your brain's going to be like, yeah, it does. You've been thinking that for like 20, 30 years. So instead, you're just going to have to think something extremely neutral. Or obviously you can meditate because meditation is the action of taking no thought, right? It's the idea that you're going to go into a place of thoughtless existence. You're just going to observe them until they eventually float away and then you're just there in nothingness. It's pretty amazing, but we are not able to do that or access that so easily. Maybe you're in a moment where you just can't access a meditative state. And so instead of trying to think a positive thought, you're just going to think a really neutral thought. Could be something like, well, at least this won't matter in 5 years. You know, anything to reduce your resistance because your brain doesn't speak English. You don't get rid of negative thoughts. You just ignore them, okay? I want you to imagine that someone is constantly texting you and trying to hang out with you, figure out what your schedule is, and if you just ghost the shit out of them, they will stop texting. So, you know, thoughts are like those annoying people. If you just literally ignore them, they will go away. Now, the problem is that you keep engaging with them. As soon as you have a negative thought, you're like, ooh, where did that come from? Why am I thinking that? Oh my God, you keep reacting. And that'd be like someone texting you and you'd be like, oh my God, this is so annoying. They keep texting me, but then like texting them back. Engaging with it is just not gonna work. The only way that I have managed to stay positive so much of the time, and trust me, I get negative too, but as soon as I start to notice that flurry of negative thoughts, I just let that be. It would be like trying to control the weather. As soon as it gets cloudy and stormy and you are upset about that and believing it would be better if it were sunny, you just create a negative experience for yourself during that like climactic experience. But we, oh my God, one of my favorite quotes ever, which just resonates so much more deeply now that I'm an adult, which really is that it's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And this is becoming more and more true to me throughout my life experience. So don't try to change your negative thoughts, just ignore them. It always sounds crazy before it happens. Your dreams are always going to seem totally wild and out there and impossible until they become reality. And everyone's going to think that you're crazy for believing in this and going after this thing because you don't have any evidence for it. But not you. You are a conscious creator, and you understand that your manifestations exist prior to them coming into physical form. They exist on a vibrational level. They exist as light forms, meaning that you experience them as thoughts and feelings and sensations, and that feeling of excitement of, as Abraham Hicks would say, being on the leading edge, like you're just on the edge of like something really big. And you're aware of that. And so you follow it, you trust it, you take action. You continue to move in the direction of your heart, and it feels expansive. You start questioning about, I could do this, I could do that, I could do that. When you start counting all the possibilities that are there for you, that's how you know you're starting to expand and get closer to your manifestation. But something that we have to stay consciously aware of throughout this process is that it's not gonna make sense to other people. And it's not your job to make it make sense to other people, because in their reality, people don't do things like what you're doing. And so your job is not to convince this person that your reality is right and theirs is wrong. Their reality is also right in their own way, but your reality is being shaped by you and your thoughts, not anyone else's. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need anyone to believe in you. You literally just need to believe in yourself. I know that sounds really cheesy, but it's true. Okay, so if you're always hearing, you create your own reality, or multiple realities exist, and you're like, what the fuck does that mean? Then I'm gonna explain it. Okay, so when you are a child, the way that you begin to make sense of the world is really through your relation to it. So you have an egocentric worldview, meaning that the world revolves around you. Whatever's going on in your reality is the one reality. So for example, when I was a kid, when it was raining in my city, I just thought it was raining around the entire world. And for the most part, as we age, we begin to leave this egocentric perspective and begin to understand that, oh, other people are having a different physical experience than I am, maybe even having a different emotional experience than I am. But that's the thing, your emotional experience is what is determining how you feel and perceive your physical experience. And so when you hear multiple realities exist, or you create your own reality, what they're suggesting is that you experience the reality that you're in based on the emotions and perspectives, past experiences, programming that you have that have culminated in this idea of what the world is. So you and I are living in this on the same earth, right? But we might have completely different realities, right? And you might argue that, no, this is one reality, like for everyone it's Tuesday. Is it? It's Wednesday in Asia, right? Like we can't even agree on time zones. Like it's, 10:30 a.m. right now for me, but for you, it's a completely different time. So like what reality is real? And the key is all of these realities coexist concurrently. I want you to imagine that you are at a silent disco right now and you have headphones on and everyone is just living their own best life in their head with their music, and there's a reality where someone's listening to like Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. Someone else is singing like a total heartbreak anthem, and someone else is just probably jamming to, I don't know, like a folk acoustic cover, right? So which reality is real? Because when I have my headphones on, that feels real, right? I'm walking around outside and I've got this like high vibe music on and I'm living the best life. But then that moment, right? When you take your headphones off and you're like, oh, like that was just me. That is reality, right? That's your reality. That is your experience of being in the world, and it differs person to person. And so when you can't believe that someone would do that, or can't believe that someone could achieve that, you're just saying that like, I don't think that I could achieve that or do that based on my current worldview, my current reality that I have shaped with my past experiences and beliefs and perspectives. For someone else, that might be very simple. Like, honestly, guys, like for me, 6 figures is like, that's no thing. But for you might have a really hard time wrapping your mind around that. Now, which reality is real? Is it actually easy to make 6 figures, or is it hard to make 6 figures? You know what I mean? Like, which one is real? Both. For me, it doesn't feel that hard based on my past experiences, what I have learned, my skill set, everything that I have come to understand about money and abundance. But for you, you might not be there yet. And so for you, it still feels hard. And what I want you to know is that both of these can be real. And so I'm not trying to say that your reality isn't real. It's totally real. It's literally your reality. But you also have to make room for my reality, for other people's reality, and understand that this is what actually leads to conflict, right? Especially in relationships, when you're trying to explain your reality. By the way, words in your reality might mean different things than they do in the other person's reality. So that's where you're going to constantly argue about, like, that's not what I meant. And then someone's going to say, but that's what you said. And you're going to be like, yeah, but those words don't mean what you think they mean. Do you see? And so I think what all of us really need is a lot of compassion for other people and why they are the way that they are, or more openness and expansiveness to be able to incorporate some of the realities that really challenge ours. So we are always creating and shaping our reality day by day. And when they say you can create your own reality, it really comes down to like, what are you choosing to think about, focus on, call in, and experience and make of your life? Because life is what you make of it, not what everyone else is saying. So if life is what you make it, if life really is a self-fulfilling prophecy, then what are you prophesizing? What reality are you creating? This really is yours alone to decide, and no one has to agree to it. No one has to adhere to it. Of course, as a collective, we do have some commonly agreed upon beliefs or concepts that construct all of our realities. But for the most part, we're all just kind of winging it and making up our own as we go. And so just like you can choose what song you want to listen to on your phone, you can also choose what thoughts you want to listen to, what emotions that you want to experience. And this creates your very own reality. Okay, listen. You do not need a lot of evidence for your manifestations. You could believe in your manifestations by like 5 or 10%, but if that 5 or 10% are super passionate and you actually can get behind that 5 to 10% of belief, it will manifest. The reason why it's not is because you keep making an extremely strong case for your limitations. So this is the thing. I want you to imagine that you have an inner lawyer and you have hired this lawyer to make a case for your potential. Now, most of you have really shitty lawyers. You have lawyers that you've paid retainer fees to who are literally making a case for all of your limitations instead. If your inner lawyer were an outer lawyer, a real person who was actually trying to get you out of jail, you would have fired them. And so what do we know about a really good lawyer? A really good lawyer can get someone who was literally guilty of committing crimes out of jail, right? A really good lawyer will find a tiny piece of evidence and run with it, make an entire fucking case to make sure that their client, you, gets out. And in this case, what are we trying to get out of? Our current life, which might not be reflecting back to us our fullest potential. And so we need an inner lawyer that's going to help build a case for our potential and get us to our greatest, best life. So what I'm saying is you don't need to believe in yourself fully, like by 100%. You just need to have one little piece of evidence, tiny, and just take it and run with it, focus on it until it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, until you have this case that you've made for your greatness instead of constantly looking for your smallness. Just like a lawyer who needs to win this case in order to feed his family, I want you to defend yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Okay, stop. If you are trying to improve yourself right now, you are trying to expand into the next level, best version of you and go after all of your dreams, this is what you have to know about that. Right when you start believing that you are actually worthy of your dreams, you start expanding your possibility thinking. You start thinking, oh my gosh, I could do this and I could do that. And you start to get really inspired. And then you actually take some action. And then you start to see some results. And then, full stop, your ego is going to come back. All of your fears, every single terrifying thing that you could ever think is going to happen is going to come back up and tell you that you're not good enough. You shouldn't be doing that. Someone else is already doing that. And you should just stop while you're ahead and not fall on your face. Down from this initial high of believing that it's possible is then going to put you into probably like a depressive spiral, which will then fuel more of those negative thoughts and then further stall your expansion. At some point, we might get another wind of inspiration again and then take action, and then the cycle will continue to oscillate back and forth. And so I want you to think about if you were in an abusive relationship with someone and every single time you would break up, you would get this sense of inspiration, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start, dating again and start really doing all these things that I love. But then you get scared and then you go back. You finally, really full stop, legit realize that you are fully worthy of a relationship that is better than this. You know that there are other people out there and lifestyles out there that are better than this. You decide to take a stand and leave. Now, what happens inside of the other person when you do that? They freak the fuck out. They're going to start screaming at you and telling you that you are never going to find anyone better than them. No one is ever going to love you like them, and that you are going to be unhappy and regret this. And that's really scary. And if you are not strongly in your own conviction enough about what you know is possible, then you might start thinking, they're right. I might not actually ever find someone who loves me more than this. And I totally might regret this. And we don't want to live with that pain of regret. That's such a terrifying, sinking feeling. And so we succumb. And a lot of people will stay. By the way, if anyone has stayed in a relationship, abusive or not, I respect that choice in a sense because that is the best choice that you made from the consciousness that you were at. But in order to really expand into the life that you want for yourself, the one that you know you deserve to live out, you'll come face to face with every single horrifying, deep fear you have ever dealt with. They'll literally go for the jugular. They're going to go for the ones that you are the most intensely afraid of. As you start to expand into your dream life, like I said, the one that you know that you deserve to move into, your fears are like that abuser. They're going to say, you shouldn't do that because if you did and then you failed, then this is going to happen and then that's going to happen and then you're going to be unhappy and then you're going to be embarrassed and then it's going to do all of that. And when it does, you're just going to have to be like, yeah, I hear you. I know. You're so scared that I'm gonna fail and that I'm gonna look stupid and that no one is gonna like me. And what you're really fucking afraid of is that no one is gonna love you anymore. That's what you're afraid of. You think it's that you're gonna fail and that people are gonna think you're stupid. Why would it even matter if someone did think you were stupid? Probably because if someone thinks you're stupid, that means they don't like you, which means you're not getting any love. And so you're afraid that if you do this thing, that somehow, some way, there is going to be no love at the end of it, meaning that people aren't going to like you anymore. People aren't going to support you in this. And so I want you to know that you're the only one not supporting yourself in this. Understand that once you vanquish that fear, once you actually decide, okay, I hear you, but I'm not going to stay. I'm not going to stay this small. I am going to move toward the direction of my dreams. I am going to actually embody these lives. I am going to manifest everything I fucking want. Learn to walk confidently away from that voice that is telling you that you are going to regret this. You are going to be a stupid fool. Once you learn to walk away from that voice with confidence, with conviction, with worthiness, that is when you begin to attract every single possible thing you could ever imagine. Just fucking do it. You can go back to your normal life. You can go back to the job you don't like. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back. It's literally fine. And if you can't go back and you don't have money for a while, you have friends. You can sleep on their couches until you figure it out. But you are not going to want to figure this shit out when you're like 60 years old and it's too fucking late. If you're watching this video, you have time to try the thing and figure it out. You know, Gary Vee used to really rub me the wrong way, and I'm not a regular consumer of his content, but I know that a lot of his work is about encouraging young people to just go for it. And now in my line of work, I kind of do the same thing where there's definitely some sort of limiting belief or block in between you and the reality you want to live in. And instead of focusing on all the things that you could do in order to make that a reality, you focus on every single limitation. Now, when you focus on every single limitation, you call that timeline into your reality. So that's what you continue to experience, all the evidence or lack thereof that it's not possible, but it is possible. It is possible. You're just not focused on it. Now, what would we have to lose by focusing on it? I think there's this sense of, but if I focus on it and I fail, then I would feel really stupid or it would have been a waste of time. No, what you're doing right now, not pursuing this dream, is a waste of time. That is a waste of time. Actually going for this thing and seeing where it takes you, because it will take you somewhere. I don't know where it's going to take you, but it will take you somewhere other than here. That is not a waste of time. That is an adventure. That is a mystery. That is life. And what could be more adventurous than not knowing what's going to happen? That's the best effing thing you could ever ask for. I love my trips that I go on that I don't really plan. I let them be spontaneous. And then I'll remember that time I was in that Italian restaurant and that guy brought me limoncellos that I didn't even ask for. And then we danced in the moonlight. That wasn't planned. That wasn't planned, but I had to decide to go there and then just be open to what happens along the way. And so the same thing goes for your dreams. You just decide what it is. You decide you're going to go that way. And then whatever happens along the way, let that just be an incredible, mysterious, unfolding experience. And you will live an incredible life that feels so in alignment, so exciting, so juicy that there's no possible way you could fail because you're going to be so fucking happy. And that is success. Your happiness, you progressively realizing a worthy ideal, That's my definition of success anyways, that I'm enjoying this present moment. I'm enjoying the step I'm taking. I'm excited about the next step I'm going to take. It's not a place I need to be at. It's not a number in my bank account, because if I'm conditional upon those things, I will never be happy. Never. Because your happiness, your legitimate contentment with who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, it does not come from out there. There is no amount of money, there is no person, there is no place, no house, no car, no anything that can give you that. You gift that to yourself once you begin to heal. Once you begin to live in alignment with who you really are, you actually go do the shit that you said you would do if you had money, if you had time. When you do that, then you become happy. And then you become an energetic match to every single possible thing outside of you that you could ever imagine. You will have money, you will have relationships, you will make impact, and then you will get a nice car, and then you will get a house, but none of that will really fucking matter. I'm serious. You'll get it, and they will be nice. They will be literally just niceties that you just get to enjoy in this physical plane. But what is so fucking embodied and juicy and worthwhile is being who you are. Actually doing the thing that you want to do, not the thing that your parents think would be safe for you to do, not the thing that society gives you a pat on the back for, the thing that you would do if you already had the money. That is what you need to do. Anything else is a waste of time. Literally. Time is your number one most valuable and least renewable resource. Money, you can get more of that. Food, you can get more of that. You know what? You can't get more time though, and you're wasting it. And this is not to make you feel bad, it's to wake you up. This is limited. You have a sand clock right now, and it's running out every single day. And I think about that all the time, because it's not that I need a sense of urgency, it's that I need for this day to have purpose. Otherwise, I will be unhappy. And so figure out deep within yourself what the fuck you want to do, the thing that you would do if you already had the money and the time, and start doing it. And you will find happiness. You need to understand that as soon as you start acting like your authentic self and start doing things that feel really good for you, and maybe you start being this like bigger, more expanded version of yourself, and you get really excited and like hyper, or like have these crazy ideas, someone's gonna cringe about that. Like someone is gonna cringe at you. But if you are always trying to avoid people cringing, okay, you're never gonna fucking do anything, because honestly, like everything's cringy. Like every single successful person has at one point in time cringed me out. Like seriously, there's probably a video that you've watched of mine that was like, we like her, but she's a little bit cringy. And that's okay, because I think that when you are being fully authentic, it's not gonna be the conformed like way of being, right? Because conformity feels like safety, and it's, I guess, less cringy. But if I don't want to conform, I want to be individual. I want to be me. I want to be me in all the different shapes and forms. And if that's fucking cringy, then great, cringe away. Also, this is just a side note that no amount of cringing from another person can do anything to you. It's physically harmless for another person to cringe at you. It literally cannot do anything. Like if you're right now watching this video and just internally cringing, it's just not doing anything to me, right? The only time it affects me is when I believe that you're cringing and then I have a thought about myself. But I don't have to have that thought about myself. You don't have to have that thought about yourself. You can just allow someone to cringe, move on with your life, continue being yourself, continue being authentic, and understanding that on some level, to someone, based on their state of consciousness, they're gonna cringe about it. I'm over it. Let's just all cringe each other out, because I think that's the only way we're gonna get through this weird thing that we call life. This is a video you need to watch if you are constantly afraid of posting. You record videos, you delete them, or try to edit them until you are so exhausted with yourself that you just never post anything. So there's a difference between being a creator and being a consumer. And within one person, like you can be both, right? But as a creator, you are going to be really relying on your past experiences, lessons to share with others and create so that they can learn from you. Either that or be entertained by you. Now your role as a creator is to create and release. Your job is not to judge and correct. That's for consumers to do. And so if I was a musician, for example, I am going to create an entire album of songs. Now, there might be some songs on that album that I think are amazing and some songs that I don't really resonate with as deeply, and that's totally fine because when it gets out into the public, they are going to have their own relationship with the music. That's for them, right? Although the music was fun for me to create, at the end of the day, what relationship other people have with it is up to them. Now, the pitfall is when you become a consumer of your own creation, meaning that if I create this album of music or if I create this video and then I go back and I'm constantly watching it or listening to it and judging it and deciding if it's good, then I get in the way of being able to share and release it. And I always find it really ironic that tons of musicians or even visual artists like painters, what they think is their best work, it's not the most popular song. It's not the most popular piece of work because the general public just has a different perception, and that's totally fine. But if I was to, as the creator, go outside of myself, right, and view what I am creating and have a consumer relationship with it, then most likely I'm gonna pick it the fuck apart. And then it's never gonna reach someone's ears. It's never gonna reach someone's eyeballs. And therefore it's going to create zero impact. And so what we have to remember as creators, and that doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you're creating. You could be making pottery, you could be making videos, you could be writing, right, dancing, it doesn't matter. Whatever creation or creative pursuit you are engaging in, you are doing that for the sake of creation itself and to share and express yourself. You're not doing it so that you can create something that you can judge as good to bolster your sense of self through. That's really problematic because as soon as I create a video and I believe, oh, if this one's really good, people are going to like this one, then I'm going to be chasing that high forever, where now I have to create a video that gets more views than that. You know, I create more impact, and then all of a sudden the message gets lost. Then the video is not for you anymore. Then the video becomes about me. And that's not authentic creation. Authentic creation truly serves and transforms the receiver. You are not the receiver though, you are the creator. So it's not the creator's job to be the recipient of the creation. But this is the problem. You go to create a video, you write something, whatever, and you're wanting to go and post it, but you haven't done that because you have been the consumer of your own creation. Now, you're a very bad judge of your creation because you're gonna go and have all of your limiting beliefs, self-blocks in the way of being able to receive that creation cleanly, right? You're not listening it to the first time completely unbiased. You're the person who literally created it and you have judgments about that person, you. Whereas the person who's going to view this piece of content, creation, whatever, they don't have those preconceived notions about you. You're just a random person they've never seen before with a piece of knowledge to impart or a creative download to share. They don't have those negative thoughts and beliefs about you. So what is getting in the way of you releasing your art? Whether it be through the camera, right? Through writing, any different creative pursuit, whatever it is that you're trying to get out of, the reason why it's not getting out there is because you keep creating the art for yourself. The art is not for you, although the art is being expressed by and through you. The art is to be perceived by others, if you so choose, right? But the reason why you're not choosing to do that and you don't feel safe to do that is because you keep consuming it. Like, you keep judging it. And by the way, you're the one who's gonna think it's the worst out of anyone in the world. Like, if only you all knew which videos I hated, right? If I didn't post the videos I hated, I wouldn't get a ton of views. Isn't that crazy? If I had actually only curated and shared the videos that I like, that my conscious mind judges to be worthy of posting, I don't think I'd be where I am, because these videos are for you, my loves, and for me to, of course, express and create through my own vessel. But it's not my job to consume this video. It's just not. I don't really watch my own videos because they're not for me. I consume other people's creations, not my own. And so if you are getting stuck on sharing your stuff, stop consuming your stuff. Just create and share your stuff. You're not responsible for how people receive it. If Taylor Swift got caught up on what everyone was gonna think about her album, she would choke on self-judgment and pity and never release it. That's not the point. The point is that she felt creative expression and authentic emotion moving through her that it came out in this burst of song. And now it's really the consumer's job to develop a relationship with it, whether that be positive or negative. Your job is just to keep creating and sharing. Stop consuming your own shit. If you landed on this video, you are into manifesting, and I want to give you the best metaphor I've ever heard about manifestation. So when a lot of us think about manifesting, we think about the end goal, right? Getting to that next point in my life where I'm going to finally be happy, I'm going to have the things that I want, and I'm never going to have to worry again. If you're a little bit further into your journey, then you know that's not true. Manifesting and living life is a constant evolution and a constant journey of becoming. As soon as we manifest one thing, there's another thing to manifest, right? And so if you're waiting to feel happy when the manifestation comes, then you will constantly and perpetually be chasing happiness because there will always be another thing to manifest. And so when I learned this metaphor, it changed my life. Okay, so manifesting is like eating. Okay, stick with me. So when you are hungry, you literally think you're gonna die. You need to eat so badly, and then you do, and then you eat so much, and then you're like, I'm literally never gonna be hungry again. I don't even wanna look at food. And so you don't for like a day, and then you're hungry again. Every day hungry. Even though you ate yesterday, you're still hungry today. But thank God we got hungry again. There's so many things to eat. Yesterday I had like a chicken salad, and tomorrow it's Thai coconut curry. And so this is how it feels when we manifest. We get to have like the one meal or the one manifestation, and we enjoy it. And then of course the high wears off. We've now elevated to that level of ourselves, and there's like a next thing to achieve or like another meal to try. It's not a failure that there's more things to manifest. It literally just means you're alive. It's the same thing as being hungry. Like, it's not a problem that you got hungry today because you ate yesterday. That's just kind of how it works. And so if you think you are going to manifest that one thing and then be done, you're going to get to sit on your laurels and just enjoy the rest of your life, not how it works. Think about it. The day you stop becoming hungry and the day you never eat again, it's the day you die. And so I want you to think about when you go to a restaurant with your friend or your partner, and you know when you order an appetizer, you don't even want it, but you just want to lengthen that experience. You're like, I just want to stay at this restaurant, just enjoy this, let's get wine, let's get appetizers, and then you get your main course, and it's delicious. And you enjoy every single bite. Actually, the first and the second bite are usually the best. You're not trying to scarf that all up and get it done and pay, go. And if you are trying to do that, then you might as well go to a fast food restaurant. Now tell me, when you go to a fast food restaurant and you eat that food really quickly in the car while you're driving somewhere on the highway, it's not satisfying. You're full, right? You satisfy the need, but there's something missing. You're not satisfied. And so life, or the process of manifesting, is enjoying this long, drawn out dinner and then getting so effing excited when that dinner is over because you get to go to another effing restaurant tomorrow. Think of it that way. Okay, morning revelations on my hot girl walk. You don't have to be hot. You just have to act hot. So it's important for you to notice that when you do the former, when you're trying to be hot, who benefits from that, right? It's like other people. Other people get to kind of look at you and like think you're pretty or whatever, but you get to benefit from acting hot. When you act hot, you feel confident, you feel bold, you feel unstoppable. That's your benefit. And that does not have to be paired with being hot, because being hot is subjective. Like, you can act hot while someone in the world looks at you and thinks she's not hot. But that doesn't fucking matter because you are going to take over the world once you start fucking acting hot. And you know what's really weird? When you start acting hot, then you might actually start becoming hot to people around you and to yourself.